What I was telling is sympathy is the starting point of feeling for others, where you'll be just feeling sorry for other states of action, right? You'll feel, we'll come back, then we'll forget that incident. Now, empathy is going into their shoes. If you have a problem, I have to pay a year to year outburst, then that is called empathy. Empathy is trying to solve the problem. You will be getting inside the shoes of others' problem, and you will be looking at their problem at a very close distance, right? That is called empathy. Getting into the shoes of others and trying to understand what their problem is exactly. And then, if it wants, you will be lending an ear to hear their grievances. That is called empathy. So, getting into the shoes of others and feeling what exactly what they are feeling, what they want, then that is called empathy. Compassion is trying to solve their problem, trying to solve their problem. Say, for example, if you are going uh, in a car and if you have seen someone who has met with some accident, now if you are going continuously without stopping your car, that becomes apathy. Now, if you stop the car, if you see outside your car and see that okay, these persons are suffering, and then if you see okay, sorry, we have to be very slow when we are driving, and if you are feeling sorry without getting down of the car, then that is called sympathy, right? Empathy is going to that person, seeing their suffering, and then helping them with the required thing, right? That is like offering them to go and sit aside. That is called empathy. You'll make them and you'll sit them. Compassion is waiting for an ambulance to come, making them to get into the ambulance, and then sending them to the required hospital. That is called compassion. Uh, this is the level of feelings towards others, or this is the level of expression that you can have towards others whenever you are concerned about others. That is called empathy, sympathy, and compassion. So the highest form of feelings for others is compassion, and next one is empathy, and next one is sympathy, and next one is apathy, right? Now, in fundamental duties, you have compassion for other creatures, right? Compassion for wildlife. That is called highest form of feelings, where you will be going and trying to solve a problem. Now, compassion towards weaker sections, empathy and compassion towards weaker sections. Look at this, compassion towards weaker sections. You should be very compassionate. You will be trying. They are not given, the syllabus has not given empathy towards weaker sections. No, they have said compassion towards weaker sections. With that passion, you have to go, you have to try to solve the problem of weaker sections, right? So, compassion is very important because you'll be dealing with many people who are very who belongs to vulnerable communities or weaker sections, which includes women, children, SCs and STs, disabled, elderly, right? And then other genders, right? Poor people, right? Then those who are hit by disasters. So these are all vulnerable people. At that point of time, a civil servant should not just be sympathetic, rather, he has to be compassionate enough to go and solve their problem. He has to use all his powers within his domain to solve the problems of these persons. That is why you are here, right? A civil servant's duty is to have that compassion. Now, whenever you are trying to write this answer, first just understand what is empathy, what is empathy and sympathy, what is sympathy, empathy, and compassion, and then understand that compassion is the highest form of service, and weaker sections, there are different weaker sections in different domains. Then link it how compassion is going to help each and everyone, right? That is the thing. Next, there is one more thing called tolerance. Tolerance is having that attitude. Now, this is related to somewhat called attitude. Positive attitude is tolerance. Tolerance is tolerance is opening your heart and opening your brain to accept the different opinion. That is called tolerance. Tolerance is having that patience in you to listen to others' opinion. That is called tolerance. And without tolerance, without listening to the other person's opinion, you cannot develop the so-called empathy, sympathy, and compassion. You can develop sympathy, but you cannot develop that compassion. You cannot develop that empathy, right? That is called tolerance. So what I said is just remember what is what. Then you can write on your own. Collect some examples. You can write it on your own. No need to study any book. What is aptitude? Aptitude is the basic. Aptitude is the natural way to solve some problems. That is called the competency to solve an issue. That is called aptitude. After training, you can cultivate it, but it should come from your childhood. Some people will be having aptitude towards music, some people will be having aptitude towards dance, some people will be having aptitude to read more books. That is called aptitude. And then foundational values of civil services, I said Nolan committee recommendations, remember that 7, just to know what is what. Now foundational values of civil service, as per syllabus you should know exactly what each term means. Integrity, for that I said what is honesty. Honesty is a synchronization between your thoughts, speech, and actions. This is called honesty, and honesty cannot be possible without courage, right? Even though if your thoughts are good, even though if your speech is good, if you want to convert that into action, then courage is required, and hence courage is also a very hallmark of civil servant. Then with this, we have moved to the term called integrity. Integrity is a set which is above your honesty. What is the set above honesty? Honesty is just a synchronization of all these three. But if you go to the thing called integrity, you are not only being honest, but you are following an ethical and moral conduct, right? Moral code in all your actions. That is called integrity. For example, lying is okay, then going and saying that okay I lied to you, that is called honesty, but not lying in the first instance itself is called integrity. Now impartiality and non-partisanship both are favoritisms that a person shows because of his conflict of personal and public interest. Now in order to overcome that conflict of interest, then you should be impartial and non-partisanship. The only difference between impartiality and non-partisanship, if you are showing that favoritism to an individual, to your friend or to your family member, that is called impartiality. Non-partisanship is being away from group tendency or not favoring any group, either that is a religious group, either that is a political group, or it is a any group that is creating some that is a part and parcel of some problems or which is looking for a solution. So being away from the group activity is called non-partisanship. Being away, not showing any favoritism to an individual, it's called impartiality. Now objectivity, I said taking a decision based on your rationality or logic, which is backed up by some strong verifiable data based on facts, based on logics, based on truths. If you are taking that decision, then that is called objectivity. Whereas subjectivity is taking decisions based on the emotions. And now remember, emotional intelligence. Emotions can be of two types. Emotions can be positive emotions and negative emotions. And the fellow who is very good in capturing the emotions might create trouble to the civil servant, because if the civil servant is not objective, if he is subjective, then he falls for that emotions. Hence, a civil servant has to be very objective in decision making, verifiable facts, right? If someone is crying before us, it should not be like a decision should not be taken. Okay, this fellow is crying. Let me do something good. Rather, test the real reason why he is crying and then give the decision. That is called objectivity. The opposite of that is subjectivity. And then empathy, tolerance, and compassion. Before that, I said what is apathy? Apathy is not showing any interest in other people's problems, right? This is my life, I live my way. Let the other people suffer. Whatever they want to do, they do it. But I am not concerned with it. That is called apathy. Whereas sympathy, empathy, and compassion are three different degrees of feeling for others. Starting with sympathy, it is just feeling sorry for others, feeling others' sufferings. That is called sympathy. Empathy is giving your ear to hear others' problems. That is called empathy. And compassion is trying to solve their problems and coming out only when the problem is solved. Now, the civil services syllabus they have given compassion towards weaker sections, which means as a civil servant you are expected to solve the problem and then come out of the problem. That is called compassion towards weaker sections. And I said you to remember these three things, weaker sections. Whenever there is weaker sections or whenever there is inclusive growth, you have to write about these type of people. Next one is tolerance. Tolerance is the ability or the attitude of a person to listen to different opinions, even though it is contradicting your opinion. Opening and listening to others' opinion is called tolerance. Unless and until there is no tolerance, there cannot be empathy, there cannot be compassion, right? Only in the tolerant environment you can develop these things. That is called empathy and tolerance. Sorry, empathy and compassion. Even tolerance is very important to build up the objectivity, because I said tolerance is the first factor which builds up. Remember Gandhiji's thing that I said. Tolerance is very important because harmony exists in a tolerant society. Then people can discuss and then truth will evolve. When truth evolves, you can apply objective criteria. So this is how aptitude of civil services is related to. Now quickly going through the notes that I have shared here. That is the thing. No need to write or no need to study much and much. Just think on those lines. Sympathy, act of feeling sorry for the situation of others. Empathy, ability to understand and share feelings of others, to be able to put yourself into the shoes of others. Compassion is active desire to eliminate other people's sufferings. Compassion makes it complete. Empathy itself is not making any difference. Baba Amte working for leprosy patients. It's difficult to do such a job for lifelong without having strong values of compassion. Mother Teresa demonstrated the quality of highest esteem by working for those others who are on the deathbed. Similarly, Gandhiji, Raja Ram Mohan Rai. So just for your examples, I have given that. Go to this impartiality. Just look at this. India is a diverse country. It is a multicultural society. There should not be any discrimination on the basis of color, caste, creed, religion, sex. Lies above everyone. There should not be any bias against rich or poor. However, Indian Constitution allows positive discrimination, which is favoring certain sections, but is not harmful to others in a society. Reservation for weaker sections. Now, these fellows, they have not given impartiality meaning itself, but they have said impartial behavior. Impartiality means not showing any liking or favoritism to an individual. Next, non-partisanship. Bureaucrat must act in a rational manner in the interest of public in accordance to his. Whereas civil servants will have to work in different levels. This is the highest quality. No, they have not given here the meanings exactly, right? Both these terms appear to be interchangeably used with each other with a broad meaning. Fair and being non-discriminatory, right? Both are same. But at times there is something called a difference. Non-partisanship is a subset of impartiality. Although non-partisanship is used synonymously with impartiality, it has a specific meaning. Apolitical behavior by civil servants, not having any kind of favor against a particular political party or not having any prejudice towards a political party. Now, many people or many institutions or many books, they have given the same meaning, saying that non-partisanship is not going and favoring any political party. They said that it is a political term, right? If you are not showing uh, any favoritism to a political party, that is called non-partisanship. But apart from political parties, non-partisanship is a group thing. If you will not be showing not only for a political party but also for any other group. Political party is one group, right? So that is called non-partisanship. And many books that I have seen, they have confined non-partisanship to political activity. They said that non-partisanship is a political thing. You should not show that favoritism to a political party, then it becomes non-partisanship. Above it is these political parties are a group in different groups, right? There will be religious groups, right? So non-partisanship is a religious thing. You should be neutral towards every group, either that is a political group or either it is a religious group. Then that is called non-partisanship. Impartiality is individual. So they have given the same thing: impartiality, partisanship. Leave it, but just remember that. Next one is selflessness. Nolan committee, they said that there should be selflessness. The basis of one's actions or decisions is not self-interest, rather public interest. Motive of duty should be driving factor and not motive of reward, right? Motive of duty should be the driving factor. Selflessness, to do anything selflessly, nishkama karma, right? What should be the driving factor? Duty should be the driving factor rather than the result, right? That is called selflessness. Mahatma Gandhi had a lot of opportunity to earn with his barrister degree, but he chose to be in public life despite his uh, hardships. Similarly, Mother Teresa. Objectivity, ability to take a decision based on facts, evidences, and not perceptions, imaginations, or emotions. If you are taking based on these, this is called subjectivity. Perceptions, imaginations, emotions. Based on facts and evidences, that becomes objectivity. Tolerance is the ability to bear or tolerate the existence of opinions or behavior of others, which you might like or dislike, right? That is called tolerance. Civil servants may have to work in a situation where his superiors have different way to handle the situation. Rather than disagreeing from beginning, he or she must try to see the situation from others' perspective also. It is not like I have become officer and I'll start saying that whatever my thing is correct, whatever your thing is wrong. No, you have to first start listening to them, then apply your logic and say that whether that is correct or wrong. Conflict of interest we have already studied. Just conflict of interest is one thing where your public interest and private interests are overlapping. That is called conflict of interest. Chanda Kochar example, Dayanidhi Maran, he has his own TV channel and official machinery and diverted his powers to his personal organization. So these are the things as far as this goes. No need to study extra. Just remember the terms, give some examples. That's it. Write it in a very simple manner. Right? Just go to this point. Did you understand anything or do you have any doubts so far? I'll share these notes that I have discussed. I have gone through some institutes material also, but they have given very huge for this. No need to study that much. What is the point of studying that much? Just write more and more. Right? We are done with this. If you have any questions, you can ask me, or else I will go to the next point. Sympathy and empathy. See, look at this. Sympathy, empathy, compassion. Now look at this. What is the meaning of sympathy? Sympathy is yes, you will understand what the other's pain is. You will understand what the other's pain is. Below this sympathy, you have apathy. Apathy is you are not concentrated about others. Sympathy is first you will try, if you look at a situation and if you say, "Arey, this fellow is suffering," then that is called sympathy, acknowledging someone's pain, right? If you are watching some movies, right? If you are sitting beside your mother will be saying, "Ayyo, ala inda, ayyo, ila inda," movie lo choose, right? Then that is she's feeling sympathy towards that the problems of heroine or problems of hero in the movie. That is called sympathy. Now, merely feeling sorry. Now, my mother says that okay, this has happened. అయ్యో అంటుంది తర్వాత షీ విల్ మేక్ సమ్ దోస ఆర్ ఇడ్లీ షీ విల్ కీప్ విత్ మీ అండ్ షీ విల్ ఈట్ అలాంగ్ విత్ మీ దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ just feeling sorry for some other situations. You are not trying to solve the problem there, right? So just feeling sorry, that is called sympathy. You are not trying to solve the problem as such. Now, problem of sympathy is it is very short lived, right? You look at it, you look at someone suffering, say for example, you look at the sufferings of COVID-19 patients, you feel very sorry, but we will not be in a position to do anything. That is just short lived aspect, right? If you have watched this, that a girl who is standing near this metro, that metro pillar has some brick from the metro has fallen down and that girl has passed away, right? No, we felt very sorry for that, but after that we immediately forget that news and we'll do our work. That is called sympathy. Is very short lived phenomena, value which is not sustainable over a period of time. Hence, sympathy is just getting your senses and thinking, okay, ayyo, under, right? That is called feeling someone sorry, but you will not be thinking about how to solve the problem. Empathy is not merely acknowledgement, not just acknowledgement, going beyond and getting into their shoes and clothes of the other person, going beyond and acknowledging the pain. Understand the pain. First thing is you'll be acknowledging the pain. You'll be here, you'll be going beyond this acknowledging of pain. How? You feel that pain as yours, right? And it is a long-term thing. I said this, for example, if you are going in a car, if someone has met with some accident, now what you have to do, you'll get down off your car. If you are moving away the car without stopping, also that is called apathy. If you are stopping the car without getting down, if you are watching it through the window, that is called sympathy. If you are opening the door of the car and coming down to that person, then that is called empathy, right? You will be giving your hand, you will be giving water to drink. That is called empathy. Now, compassion is the highest form of problem. That is, you will be going, making them to be in the ambulance, and then you will also report that to a police, saying that something has happened here. This is called compassion. Totally solving problem is called compassion. So this is the differences. So there were some examples here. Avinash Sharan, IAS. So though he was from taking midday meal scheme in government schools, what he has done now, government schools. See, this is the best example. Look at this. Many people say that government schools or midday meals were not implemented properly, and we look at the people, children who is not getting enough food or proper food under midday meals, and we feel sorry. Feeling sorry is called sympathy. By looking at the children who is not getting that meals in the midday meals program, we will feel sympathy. That is not just enough. Now, empathy is trying to go and getting into their shoes. Say, for example, if you are sending your children to that school, then it is understanding that and you are trying to go into the problem. Joined his daughter in the government school. Now, taking midday meal. This makes the midday meal scheme somewhat effective because if a civil services aspirant or if a civil servant daughter or son is in that school, definitely they will make sure that the problem is solved to some extent. And compassion is being present there, looking at what is the problem in that midday meals and going after the problem. That is called compassion. Yes, that's the thing, Naveen. Yeah. Did you get it? So compassion, see, first is being aware of others' problems, your mood emotionally, and then you want to do something for their sufferings, to avoid their sufferings, and you'll do that thing, and this is what is required. in civil service, right? For a civil servant, this is very required. You have to solve the others' problems. Now, that's it. Be simple. Don't study much. Just think in these lines. Okay, then let me move to the next point. I said we have discussed already emotional intelligence, contributions of moral thinkers, philosophers. No need to study much. Just we have to see some philosophers which were given previous year questions, right? That is more than enough. I said these are like substantiations. We'll discuss this later. Let me go to the next point, that is called public and civil services values and ethics in public administration. What is the status and problems? I already discussed the status when I was discussing the so-called emotional intelligence. If you do remember, what is the problems and status, right? Just go through that. Adding to that, let me also go through. What is the present status and what is the present problems? What is the difference between public service and civil service? Public services, see, public service. Public service is anything which is not related to your job. Say, for example, if you are becoming an officer and if you are trying to solve the problem, then that is called civil services. Public services, in civil services, there will be some sections of people whom you will be doing and solving the problem. Civil society. See, there are some weaker sections that forms a civil society. If you are going and trying to solve their problem from the civil services aspect of either after becoming a civil servant, if you are solving the civic issues, that is the issues of a group, right? Such as the weaker sections or such as the groups which the government of India has clearly laid down, then you will call it as the civil services. And public services, voluntarily you will be going and working for any person. It doesn't require any post to become an officer. You can be anyone, right? Just like a normal man, if you are going and trying to be helping some others, then that becomes a public service. And here it is not just confined to the weaker sections, but you can also give to other people which the law doesn't permit you in the civil services. See, I have heard that from some others. I exactly doesn't know is it the thing or not, but I was satisfied with that when I was preparing. In GS4, I have heard this statement. So what they said is civil services is something which is related to the post, and in the post there will be certain sections where you have to give them the beneficiaries, or we have to give, or you have to serve them. But in the public service, just like a volunteer, right? In a volunteer, you'll be going and serving the public. That is called public services. Now, public and civil service values. See, UPSC also given the same thing. Public and civil service, more or less, both are same. Public or civil service values and ethics in public administration. Ethics in public administration, status and problems. Just look at the status. We have already seen. This is another way of seeing at the things. Public service has broader scope. Is it, sir? Yes, absolutely. Public scope is a higher thing. Civil services is a subset of public service. That is what I am saying. Right? And now status and problems, rigid adherence. Just remember this, rigid adherence, to procedures, and the ready susceptibility towards pressures. The first problem is, I said, we will be very following only rules, only duty, without some uh, without thinking the real situation, or without thinking the moral aspects. We will be rigidly following the duty, and we will be succumbing to pressures. That is the present day status and problem. Administrative culture has been found to be characterized by excessive self-importance, right? Indifference towards the other feelings, binding and inflexible. So what I said, how to write this answer? The problem of today's ethical or public administration is that we are not having, as a public servant, many public servants do not have those seven principles or foundational values which a civil servant should have, right? Then you can substantiate your answer from that accept itself. It was struck, I think. So how to think about this answer? What is the status and problems? The status and problems is the problems which is existing, or what is the present status is declining foundational values of civil services. That is the present status of civil services, and then you can write the problems from here itself. They are not having the moral courage, right? They are not having that honesty or integrity. They are not showing impartiality, non-partisanship, objectivity, dedication to public service. So these are the things which the problems are there. Apart from that, I also discussed one more thing, that Weber and Taylor has said that you have to be duty based, but the present day problems are changing. Hence, it requires a social face or a human face in public administration, and that is what is the problem again. That is, you are very apathetic towards other problems. We are, because you are just following the law and order, or you are just following the rule book. That is the present status. Just remember that thing and link that to this aspect, then this is going to work for you. See, look at this. From here, I'll be going through. For the rest of the things, no need to remember. The term public service includes a kind of service to the government commonly provide. This is what I said. If government is doing that kind of services, that government doing that, that is called civil services. Plus, it also include effective institutions. Again, this is called civil services, right? Before 1980s, and it also includes the general public. If you are, as a public, if you are respecting that in effective institutions also, then that becomes a public service. If it is civil service, then you will be confining only to that civilian aspects. Before 1980s, the model code of conduct is complete. Yes, it includes voluntary service also. Yeah. Before 1980s, the model is complete state delivery. In 1980s, states started facing resource crunch. Also, the West also tried to push neoliberalism in the states through institutions of structural adjustment program. It has pushed one model without cultural assimilation. Hence, in many African countries, this structural adjustment program failed due to one jacket approach. Now, this is one problem. Government of India or any other governments, developing countries, they are trying to go and imbibe their values. That is the Western models of development on the Indian models, or on the developing models, or on the developing countries. Then the public administration is going to be very, very difficult. For example, Africa is becoming, or China is going for resource nationalization. That is called, they are occupying Africa in the name of giving loans. That is called debt trap. And market driven economy is the biggest problem. So, unlike earlier cases, now what they have been playing a crucial role is, earlier it was only civil services which was having the role, and their role was confined only to duty based. Now, apart from your civil service, there are certain organizations who are also becoming a part and parcel of your development. That is called NGOs and civil societies. This is the second thing. The present day status is, it is no more only civil servants. right? It is no more IAS or IPS officers. You have NGOs and civil societies also playing a crucial role in governance aspects, right? Governance, you have all the three structures: legislative, executive, and judiciary. Apart from that, you have NGOs, you have many trusts, you have civil society also. So today the governance phase itself has changed. So they have become the partners of development. This is the present day status, right? Unlike your olden concept. However, again, the problem here is, even though there were some NGOs or even though there are some trusts, again, the problem exists similarly to your civil structure, right? Institutions are facing problem, legislative, executive, judiciary. Similarly, NGOs are facing problem. They are in a catch-22 situation. What is this catch-22 situation, right? If you are, what is catch-22? If you are going for a job, they ask for experience, and without job, you cannot get experience. That is called catch-22. If you are going for a job, they first ask, what is the experience? Then you will say, sir, first give me the job, I'll get experience. Right? Without job, how can you get experience? If someone is asking experience without the job, then that is called catch-22 scenario. NGOs were not using properly, so funds were cut. So NGOs were in a catch-22 situation. What is this catch-22 situation? NGOs, though they are getting their funds, but they are not using properly. As a result, that this some NGOs, the phenomena of some NGOs is harming all the NGOs. That is called, again, the problems exist similar. The status is NGOs are becoming a part. Now the problem is, again, NGOs are adapting some illegal means, just like some governance institutions. So NGOs were open to get from outside. They had influenced foreign policy. They had some foreign policy. So privately driven, or they are evolved privately. So what is the thing that I wanted to say is, whenever you are writing what is the present status of governance, then you have to write one thing, that governance has moved away from the so-called so-called duty-based. It has become the rights-based approach, right? It is like human-centric administration now. That is one form of governance. The second change that you find is, it is not only the government institutions which are playing a crucial role in delivery of public service, but it is also the NGOs and trust. That is the second status. And the problems is, again, you have the problems of governance, you have the problems of NGOs and trusts, because they are operating